Hey everyone, and in this video, today I will be explaining about Route 53. So, Route 53 is a managed DNS service. And what is exactly DNS? So, DNS is nothing but the collection of rules and records which helps the client understand how to reach a server through URLs. So in AWS, the most common records are uh, IPv4, IPv6, CNAME, and AWS resources. So these are the most common records in Route 53. So coming to the explanation of Route 53 and DNS, so let me give you one example here. So let's say this is an user and this is the Route 53, which is the managed DNS, and this is the application server. So this is the application server, uh, or let's say the website which is running on the EC2 instance. Okay, so what happens is that let's say the person wants to access this website called www.learnmore.com. Okay, so what he does is that he sends the so if he wants to access the website, he sends a DNS request to the Route 53 by setting the domain name of the website. The domain name of the website is learnmore.com. So it sends a DNS request of by sending the domain name of www.learnmore.com. Okay. So the Route 53, what it does is that it checks the IP address which is running in it checks the IP address of the website which is running in the EC2 instance. So once it checks the IP address, it then sends back the IP address uh, to the web user or the person who's trying to access the website. So it sends the IP address of, let's say, example, IP address of 32.46.92.80. Okay. So the person has the IP address of the website. So he sends the HTTP request to the website which is running in the EC2 instance. Has HTTP request of by HTTP, so it sends the HTTP request by sending the IP address to the EC2 instance, to the application which is running to the EC2 instance. And then the application or the website which is running on the EC2 instance will send the HTTP response back to the web browser or back to the user. So in this way, the person can able to access the website which is running on the EC2 instance. So this is how the whole working of Route 53 and DNS works. So coming to next topic, we're going to talk about routing policies. Route 53 routing policies. So the so for the first so the first policy that we're going to understand is basically simple routing policy. So you have this web browser, and you have Route 53. Okay. So it sends the domain name to the Route 53 by, for example, again the same example, www.learnmore.com, and the Route 53 will send you the IP address of that website to the user. So this is simple routing policy. Now coming to the next routing policy, we're going to talk about weighted routing policy. So let me give you an example for you to understand what is exactly weighted routing policy. So for example, you have an website which is running on different EC2 instance. So you have the website running on this EC2 instance, this EC2 instance, and then this EC2 instance. Okay, and you have 100 traffic. Okay, 100 of users trying to access this website. So what Route 53 does is that it takes the request. Uh, so let's say there's 100 user. Out of 100 user, it takes 70 users. Uh, it takes the 70 users. You know. So out of 100 users which is sending the domain name to the which is sending the domain name to the Route 53. The Route 53 first the Route 53 will first send the IP address to the at least 70 users, so that the 70 users can able to access the first EC2 instance, and the weight of the EC2 instance becomes 70%, and the remaining 20%, the Route 53 will assign the IP address of that application uh, to the 20 users, so that the 20 users can able to access the second EC2 instance. So this weight of the second EC2 instance becomes 20%, and then the remaining 10 users, the Route 53 will assign the IP address of the third EC2 instance, so that the 10 users can at least access the third EC2 instance. So this concept is very similar to load balancer. So basically, you're distributing the weight to different EC2 instance depending upon the traffic. So so this is what weight routing policy is all about. So coming to the third routing policy is latency routing policy. For example, around the so this is, let's say, this okay, this is, consider this country as India, and consider this country as Australia. Okay, so you have the same website which is running on the EC2 instance which is located in India, and you have the same application which is running on EC2 instance located in Australia. Okay. So, and there are many users around all over the country. So what, and let's consider this is Route 53 here, and this is also Route 53. Let's consider this way, 53. Okay. So what is happening? Like if everyone in India wants to access the wants to access the website, it sends the request to the Route 53. The Route 53, what is that? Is that it sends the is it looks for the nearby EC2 instance which is located in India, and then sends the IP address of the EC2 instance, which is so I mean sends the IP address of the application running on the EC2 instance to the nearby location. So it's not gonna go and send the IP address of the EC2 instance running in Australia, because if it does, the latency would be really high, and not many people can able to access the website which is located in Australia. So it checks the nearby EC2 instance, and based on that, it's gonna distribute the traffic to the nearby EC2 instance. Similarly, in Australia, like if so it so if they'll send, so the people in the Australia will send the will send the IP will send the domain name to the Route 53. It's gonna check the nearby instance which is located in Australia, and then it sends the IP address of the application which is running on the EC2 instance in Australia. So this is basically similar. This concept is very similar to uh, uh, CDN, content delivery network. So I have already explained CDN in the last video. So if you haven't watched this video, please watch that video. So coming to the another routing policy is failover routing policy. Okay, so you have two kind of EC2 instance. One is primary EC2 instance, and is one is failover EC2 instance. So failover, in another word, it means backup EC2 instance. Backup EC2 instant. So, what? And here you can consider Route 53, and you can have the user. So, of course, user sends the domain name to Route 53, and the Route 53 will check will usually send the what will say IP address of the primary EC2 instance. Okay, but if something happens to primary EC2 instance, let's say if there's some disaster that's going to happen here, so the Route 53 is going to navigate to failover EC2 instance, which is like the secondary backup EC2 instance. So it's going to send the IP address of the failover EC2 instance to the user if something happens to primary EC2 instance. So this is called failover routing policy. So I hope you enjoy watching this video, and please do like this video and subscribe to YouTube channel, and see you next time. Take care.